they decided to have a Gatsby-themed Halloween party at Mar-a-Lago, which in the midst of everything that's going on and the absolutely atrocious behavior as documented in the Epstein files and all of the other shortcomings, that to do something that was, on one hand, really on brand, to highlight, to throw a party with a theme that emphasizes your shortcomings, and it putting blinkers, highlighters, and direct sunlight on the lie that you sold to your core constituency in order to get their vote. So, for those others that are fans of F. Scott Fitzgerald's Great Gatsby, it is, I'm not going to summarize the book and bore the heck out of everybody, but it's the Roaring Twenties and excess in a time of prohibition and illusion and heartbreak, a few dead bodies, and looking at a light on the opposite point of land. It's always worth a reread, and when you do, and then you realize that the author created that world that he did when he was, didn't make notes, 24, 5, 6, less, somewhere in there. It's absolutely mind-blowing and humbling for anybody that ever tried to put one word in front of another to make a cohesive sentence, to write something that stood the test of time like that. It is truly remarkable. So I would recommend going back to that. But what your boy Donald J. Trump has done his entire life is to sell a fiction and see how many willing buyers there are out there, or in to use perhaps a somewhat antiquated term, how many suckers are out there. Because when he had that book written for him, The Art of the Deal, it talked about an era in his professional life that never existed. Mr. Tony Schwartz did a lovely job with the book, but it was it was absolutely a work of fiction, and as a triumph of a man that has been a fiction expert his entire life, what Trump succeeded in doing was selling a very particular fiction to the MAGA voters. Look at me. I'm a self-made man, and if you follow me, the own the libs and the I'll be really mean to brown and black people, those were just kind of features of buying a ticket on the expedition. But by implication, what he's doing and showing his ass, showing Mar-a-Lago, showing the models or other adult female entertainers that he either married or hung around with, is the glitz and the glamour and the riches can be yours because the American dream is alive, and it can be alive for you too. Um, MAGA voter, I know it's been a hard time for you because immigrants crashed into the country, and the darker skinned, the more malicious and dangerous they are. And then they stole the jobs that you would have had that would have entitled you to earn millions, perhaps billions. Trump likes using the T word, a trillion, like that's what his tariffs are making that a reality for people in the U.S., but that's only for Elon. And as we discussed earlier, the only reason that Elon can get there, a, a brilliant man, Elon, dangerous, evil in many senses. Stay away. Wouldn't let my any female female within 2 degrees of consanguinity in my world get anywhere near him. Obviously, but he's earned a lot with a leg up. The U.S. government gave him loans and essentially sponsored his success, and then he took it from there and he ran with the ball and did uh, built great things. Trump, on the other hand, took the money that his father gave him. Trump is nothing resembling a self-made man. He took the money from Fred, his father, and declared bankruptcy 6 different times. I think the majority of those were with with casinos in Atlantic City, but I'm maybe a little bit off on the strike rate. But whatever it was, and Trump has had some successes. He made a name for himself. Obviously, the Apprentice uh, franchise, and Mr. Uh, Burnett, the producer of that, who Trump wants to take the credit for the success of that. But of course, that was laid out for him there too. Made his name a marketable brand, and then he licensed that name and stuck it on everything he could, and charged fees and made a few bucks here and there. But it was never until now when he started selling access to the White House and to the U.S. government. He was never a super wealthy man. He had more than I have. He had more than many of you perhaps have. But the world that he aspired to, and back to Jay Gatsby, and the title of the essay is Donald Gatsby's Bill of Goods. And another expression is you get sold a bill of goods. It suggests that it's empty promises, and that's what Donald J. Trump excels at, which is selling empty promises. What he did for his MAGA base, and the equivalency with Jay Gatsby, the Dakota farmer that came to the city, and um, he wanted to get Daisy. How did he do it? Bootlegging. And so ill-begotten gains. Donald's was not ill-begotten from his father. That's called inheritance, and that's fair. Whether or not his dalliances in the casino business and the labor involved in the construction of various projects led DJT to have relationships with organized crime. Never seen convincing evidence, but I've never looked that hard because he's just not that interesting a guy. It could. I mean, a lot of construction in New York City and Jersey has a relationship to organized crime because that's just uh, uh, structurally how things work there. That's that that ain't our biggest problem these days. Um, if I was hoping to come outside and do this essay outside today because it is clear and beautiful, approaching dusk in northern Massachusetts, and I think it's about 21 degrees Fahrenheit. So the background noises, I think that's uh, the mailman driving down the way. So yeah, so the Gatsby, he made the money. He was had no money, bootlegging money, bought the house, threw the big parties, Trump rallies to attract the spectacle, which is what Trump loves. And if you look at him in those rallies, particularly the one that I remember from yesterday, where he was debasing the disabled reporter in the crowd with a speech impediment or speech difficulty. What kind of human? And so that spectacle is all it's window dressing to put a gilded edge on the gilded era that says I achieved great wealth and you can too. The gold in the Oval Office, gross, absolutely disgusting, just miserable. But that's the kind of guy that he is, and that is my success. Excuse me. That my success can be your success too, and that's what the bill of goods was for his supporters, people that are in business, people that have done various things in the real world, of course, know that that is. It was difficult back at the time when he started out with his dad's money. It is again back to structural inequalities. What what has what has happened to the system? What the Trump administration is further how they're further damaging the American dream. It means that from the point of his Trump 1.0 and Trump 2.0, it is now going to be more difficult for the quote unquote common man to have success in many endeavors because of the inequalities in the system that that the wealthy are controlling the economy in such a way. I'm not saying there are no. I'm not suggesting there are no opportunities. There are fewer with more hoops, and when costs are higher because of excessive tax cuts to the wealthy, where the young family that is just starting out has to pay more for healthcare for a family of four with two minor children. Their bills are about to go up in a matter of days if they haven't seen it already because of Trump's failure to extend the Obamacare ACA credits. That there are some families that are going to go from 3,000 to 14,000. It's just some mind-numbing increases, and what it means is that people will drop healthcare coverage. They will be less healthy, and those costs, when they go to the emergency room, will be passed along to all of us because the taxpayers then become the American taxpayers are on the hook for those expenses, which that's just what we do when we're still trying to function as a democracy. So we all pay our share of the emergency room costs of full-blooded Americans that just can't pay any longer for the healthcare because of the big beautiful bill. And all of those other costs just stack up and build a wall that makes it more difficult for the common folks, the young graduate trying to start a family and have children in the image of J.D. Vance's. Whew, oh, there's some bad people out there. Um, it's um, it's frightening. It's frightening. So, yeah. So, and then of course, uh, as as the story comes to a conclusion and the body count increases, that Donald Trump won't be there for you, dear uh, mega voter. He'll be off the stage, but the tax cuts and the changes he's made to immigration, to healthcare, and all of those have a cost, and that cost will be borne by you and your children and your grandchildren, and you will be able to thank him as long as he's on the top side of the ground. And you can thank his family for the generate. They'll be around for a long time because they are, $3.5 to $4 billion to the better from the first day in office of Trump 2.0. So you have that to look forward to. But as an aspiration, well, maybe because Eric and Don Jr. and Ivanka and Jared Kushner can do it, maybe I can do it. You know, is that the American dream? That the same opportunities that Trump provided to his own children by selling access to the White House and the federal government procurement system and to pardoned cryptocurrency billionaires who finance Hamas, ISIS, Al Qaeda, former Honduran presidents who've imported hundreds of metric tons of cocaine into the country. Pardon. Ghislaine Maxwell, I'm sure that's coming as a New Year's surprise. So the people that he's taking care of are the ones that can send him a multi-million-dollar thank you note. Did he? Maybe. Tate brothers? Convicted of rape and were told that they couldn't leave Romania, and now they're back here. So, you know, there are there have always been some structural inequalities in our system that make it more difficult for folks with a modest amount of modest income to succeed, like perhaps our fathers did, grandfathers. It was different time, wars, and a lot of boring other factors like the Industrial Revolution. Certainly not uh, any easier for the folks that have healthier skin tones than I do, that are under tremendous pressure from the Trump administration policies on immigration, on civil rights, on any one of 100 other policies that disadvantage Black and brown people in this country, and will continue to because the Supreme Court is uh, is making sure that's the direction of travel. But Gatsby, a good read. If you've not read it before, you'll enjoy it. You'll see the parallels of the illusion that is created by Jay Gatsby in order to tempt Daisy is very much like the illusion that's created by Trump, 80s, 90s, and all the way up to present. It's almost if the current situation was not so desperate for in um, those in desperate circumstances, then it would almost be entertaining. But that illusion was sold to a bunch of voters that chose to put him in for another term when everybody knew from that and Project 2025 knew what was coming. Maybe didn't know it'd be that bad. Knew it was coming and did it anyways. So, um, yeah, I enjoyed the book. I'll read it. I'll probably read it again in a couple of years. I've probably done that 5 or 6 times, but I've been around for a while. In any case, so uh, much appreciated. I'm starting to. I thought that the cold would inspire me to keep it moving faster, but I think it also slowed down my jawline because it's freaking cold. Wish you all a warm and beautiful evening, and we will do this again sometime over the weekend. Thank you very much.